So warm up 4-7 today. We're going to be starting with a word problem that talks about an equation, but they give you the equation, guys. Look, even though they talk about this equation, do all these words, here's the equation right here. It says Ripley is purchasing a necklace for his fiance from Amazon.com. The total purchase will include the cost of the necklace. Here's the cost of the necklace. Okay. A handling fee of 5%. That means basically in order for them to complete the transaction, they're charging you just to do everything. That is going to be 5%. That's going to be right here, that 0.05 times X. But there's also going to be a sales tax because we live here in Tallahassee. It's going to be 7.5%. So that's going to be 0.075 times X. If X represents the cost of the necklace, then the total purchase can be represented by this equation. They give you the equation, guys. You don't have to write it. What is the maximum amount Ripley can afford to spend for the necklace before, this is the key, before tax and handling fees, if he's working with a budget of $360? Guys, where does the $360 go into? What variable? Look at the problem. Is $360 going to go in for X? Is that the cost of the item he can spend? No. Where does the $360 go at? P. It is the total purchase price that he can do. He can't afford to pay more than $360, so he can't pay taxes and a handling fee above the $360. So that $360 is going to go in the P. It's going to be $360 equals X plus 0.05X plus 0.075X. You are going to combine like terms by combining the numbers that are in front of each one of these variables. In order to solve this, guys, you're going to need to grab your calculators. Take a minute, get to here, and then grab your calculators. Okay, what number's really in front of X? 1. So add up 1 plus 0.05 plus 0.075. What does that give us? 1 point what? 125? 1.125. 1.125x. That's what's going to go there. So 1.125x. Guys, it's a one-step equation. It's multiplication. The opposite of multiplication is division. We're going to divide both sides by 1.125. 1.125. By that, see how much money he can spend on that necklace. How much the original cost of the necklace can be. He's got $360, but they need to know what's the original cost it can be. What's that going to be? 320 equals X. Guys, what's that 320 in terms of money? So $320. There you go. Guys, when you go to buy a car, if you have $10,000, can you go buy a car for $10,000? No, because you wouldn't be able to pay the taxes. You wouldn't be able to get a tag. You wouldn't be able to register it. That's not how it works. When you deal with something, you've got to be able to cover the other fees that go with it, including taxes. The taxes on a vehicle are expensive. Think about 7.5% on a vehicle. It's not cheap. And if you buy a luxury vehicle, you pay an additional tax. You pay a luxury tax. It is a lot. They charge you a lot to be able to afford something like that. Okay? So please be aware that that is the actual cost of the item he can afford. Okay, let's go down to, well, let's actually go across just so I can pull it down in a minute. So we're going to go to number 3 next. It says you have a goal to save a minimum of $1,000 this year from a weekly allowance. If you've already saved $455, write and solve an inequality. Guys, it can't have an equal sign. It's an inequality. To find the amount of money you still need to save in order to reach your goal. So your goal is how much? 1,000. So $1,000 is what you want. You're starting off with 455. You still need to save more money. So you're going to be adding to that 455 an unknown amount. What are we going to put down for an unknown? X. Perfect. And that amount has got to be compared to the $1,000 that you want to save. Okay, do you want the amount to be $1,000, greater than $1,000, less than $1,000? Which one? Greater than. Can it be equal to 1,000? Yeah, they said it has to be at the minimum they want it to be is 1,000. So 1,000 or more would be fine. There's your inequality. Now read it. Does it ask you to solve that inequality? Because that would be like step 2 in the problem. Yes, we do have to solve this one. So in order to solve it, it's an addition problem. We're going to have to take this positive 455 out in front and subtract it. That's going to make it x has got to be greater than or equal to. And what's that give us? 45? Perfect. So the answer to the question, it says, what's the actual question say? Solve an inequality to find the amount of money you still need to save in order to reach your goal. So the minimum that you can save is going to be $545. Now, if this was a typing one, you'd write out the minimum you need to save still is $545. Okay. Any questions, concerns, anything about it? For the next one, it says the National Honor Society's Leon High School chapter is fundraising, that's called Pyarian here, is fundraising to support this year's sickle cell anemia marathon. They have set a goal to raise at least $7,200. They are accepting donations of increments of $50 and $100. If X represents the number of $50, guys, X goes with 50. The Y goes with 100. Write an inequality, so it cannot have an equal sign, guys. It's going to be an inequality that represents the chapter's goal. Okay, so how many donations are they going to get that are going to be $50? Bless you, I think. How many donations that are $50, guys? Read, it tells you. What are we calling it? X. We don't know, but they're saying X represents the number of them, so 50X. In addition to that, you're going to have $100 donations. How many $100 donations? Y. And that's going to be compared to $7,200. Do we want it to be more or less than that $7,200? More. Can it be equal to 7,200? Look, read it. At least. Does at least mean greater than or equal to? Greater than or equal to. At least 7,200 means it can be 7,200 or more. Does it ask me to solve this inequality? Yes or no, guys? Read. No. So because it does not, all we do is box this in. This would be the answer that you'd actually have to type in for this one. Okay, guys, this last one is the last one that, an easy one, but you've got to do more than just solve it. It says solve and graph it on a number line. So to solve this, we've got to multiply by a common denominator, get rid of this. You can do lots of different, you can divide both sides by 2/3, negative 2/3. You can multiply both sides by a common denominator, whatever works for you, as long as it's correct algebra. Guys, what will 3 and 6 both go into? Guys, what will 3 and 6 both go into? 6. 6. So they'll both go into 6. When you multiply both sides by 6, this cancels out. You have a calculator that will do this, but my guess is this is going to be a non-calculator day. So I'm going to show you this like you have no calculator. 3 goes into 6 2 times. 2 times 2 is going to be 4x. What do you lose, though, in that process? What do you lose in that process? The negative. Be careful. Please don't lose that negative. It's a negative out in front. And then on the other side, the 6's cancel out, and all you have left is 16. Why is that negative so important? Because this next step, it's going to change everything on this next step. When you divide both sides by -4, what happens to the inequality sign when you divide by a negative? It flips. And it's going to be x is greater than or equal to -4. That is the answer to the solving part of this problem. But there is a second answer to this problem. You're going to need to do this by graphing this on a number line. The graph is the second part of this answer, and you would need to be able to provide both answers if you were taking and giving me this answer on a folder check. There's 2 answers. This one would have -4 in the middle for the number line. Guys, what goes on the right of that on a number line? -3. On the left would be -5. Would it be an open or closed dot? Closed, because it's or equal to. Shaded to the right. This is how you shade it, and shade in the arrow solid at the end. Solid at the end. There you go, guys. So that's your warm-up for today. Once you get that done, please go ahead and get to your folders and to your assignment sheets. Get to your folders and to your assignment sheets. When you're done, get to your assignment sheets, guys. We have